following is an exclusive Prism Sports presentation. Prism, for 15 years, the channel the 76ers call home.
Coming up now on 76ers Insider, we look at what it's like for a player to come into the NBA or to join a new team, the thrills and the agonies of starting out. You will hear from Sixer veterans Ron Anderson, Armin Gilliam, Johnny Dawkins, and Hersey Hawkins. We get their stories on the most eye-opening events of their first seasons.
You'll also see how Charles Barkley has changed since he was a rookie. I'm Tony Irving, and we'll take a look back at Charles Barkley's arrival in 1984 as the round mound of rebound.
And you'll meet newly signed 76ers guard Greg Grant. I'm Dee Lino, and although Greg is not a rookie, he is in effect starting over on a new team in a new city, but really in his own backyard.
I'm your host, John Gurovich, and it's all part of this month's 76ers Insider. Plus, Chronicle, Quiz, Tradition, Playbook, and Brian Cam, the January edition of 76ers Insider. Sixers are back in town on Wednesday, January 8th to face the Houston Rockets, and again on Friday, January 10th against the LA Clippers. Good seats for both games are still available and start at just $6. Don't miss the Sixers in live NBA action in January. Call Ticketmaster at 215-336-2000.
What does Prism have for you in January '92? 7 exclusive Flyers games, 13 exclusive Sixers games, Big 5 college basketball, Jim Barniak Sports Scrapbook, The Great Sports Debate, baseball's greatest games, 76ers Insider, Power Stick Hockey Week, for the most Flyers and Sixers games on TV, and the best lineup of exclusive sports features, you need Prism. Prism, now more than ever, the channel with the best variety of sports on TV.
Welcome to the January edition of 76ers Insider. Greetings and Happy New Year. The first thing on the agenda is the monthly Insider Quiz. Time to test your knowledge of the 76ers. There are 5 former 76er players who are currently NBA head coaches. Jim Lynam, of course, is not one of them. Jim was a very highly regarded college basketball player at St. Joe's in the early 60s, but he never played in the NBA. Who are the 5 former 76er players who are currently NBA head coaches? Good question, huh? Well, you think about that, and before the end of the half hour, we'll get you the answers. Okay, December was an up and down month for the 76ers. In our Chronicle section now, we take a look back at last month and see how things stack up as we get into January. The Sixers have looked very, very good at times, most notably in a 103-100 win against Chicago on December 7th. There have been only a handful of teams that have beaten the Bulls all year, and the Sixers did it without even having Charles Barkley that night. The offense was in sync, with the Sixers shooting 51%, and the defense, paced by Manute Bol, held Michael Jordan and company under control. On the other hand, the Sixers have looked somewhat mediocre at times. One example, December 23rd against Charlotte. There was a missing intensity, particularly on the defensive end, as the Hornets got open shots and made them with regularity. This against a Hornet team that came in that night with a 2-13 road record and 3 starters out with injuries. Go figure.
On many of those occasions where we've not played as well as we'd like to think we're capable of playing, it's been for different reasons. We lost a game where we turned the ball over like 23 times, which is out of character. We shot, I think, 33% one night when we lost the home game to Denver, which also out of character. Our defense has let us down, I think, on more than a couple of occasions. You know, overall, it's respectable, but you know, you can't have it fluctuating where one night you're holding a team, say, to 40% shooting, and then the next night 53.
It's been an interesting time, to say the least, for Charles Barkley. December began with Charles recovering from a painful injury, strained muscle tissue around his ribs, which forced him out of action for 6 straight games. In mid-December, Outrageous hit bookstores, the book about Barkley that he had co-written. And it was right before Christmas that Charles was arrested in Milwaukee on that misdemeanor assault charge. Somehow, amongst all that activity, the Sixers captain has found time to remind us why he gets all the attention he does. Like 14th against Seattle, when he flat out took over the game in the final 4 minutes. Down the stretch, 6 points, a rebound, a steal, and a blocked shot to key an 8-0 run, turn a 2-point lead into a 10-point lead, and basically win the game for the Sixers. One of the big pluses for the Sixers all along has been Johnny Dawkins, playing as consistently as anyone on the team. And on December 6th, in the Sixers' overtime win against Portland, it was Dawkins' 3-point shot that won it and capped off a 23-point, 10-assist performance. But maybe even more encouraging is his comeback from knee surgery. Johnny's recovery was one of the big questions. You'd have to say it's not even an issue right now. What is getting to be an issue is Jeff Ruland's knee. Speculation built up all through December on the imminent signing of the 6'11 center, who last played in the 86-87 season before succumbing to a ravaged left knee. He had surgery again this past summer. A new recently developed technique was used, and it seems the thinking is Ruland can become a regular contributor. All right, let's get into the meat of our show now. And what we're focusing on this month is starting out in the NBA. Now, one of the things we did was talk to 4 Sixers veterans: Ron Anderson, Armen Gilliam, Johnny Dawkins, and Hersey Hawkins. And what they tell you about their first years is that it was a time of initiation, of learning, and of adjustment. Some of it very difficult, and some of it a lot of fun. These 4 guys have all been in the league for a while now, but they were all rookies once, too. And for a lot of players, one of the things about being a rookie was being a sort of personal valet to a specific veteran. Did you get assigned to one veteran? Was there one veteran who had you as his rookie?
Yes, I did. My veteran probably was Johnny Moore back then, playing for San Antonio, and he pretty much, I was his, so I had to do a lot of things for him, and, you know, carry his bags, get his bags off the belt at the airport, and so forth.
Ron Anderson had things a little bit easier with his veteran, who was world free.
But World Free told me, he said, "Ron, I don't want you to do anything for me." He said, "Just stay out of my way." And one day, you know, his locker was right next to mine, and I had my foot across the line a little bit. He said, "Look, didn't I tell you to stay out of my way?" And I go, "World, I'm sorry, man."
And how about Hersey Hawkins? When he lucked out, he got Mo Cheeks.
I didn't have a hard time at all. Actually, he may have had me do one thing, maybe the whole season. That was like, you know, maybe go get him a soda or something in the airport. But other than that, you know, he was quiet. He was about to himself, and, you know, I was glad I was assigned to him.
Armen Gilliam didn't get assigned to a specific veteran, but he did have to get up at training camp and do a little song.
What was the song by Nat Cole? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. What's the name of that song? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the Christmas song, whatever the name is.
Whatever. The fun began to turn serious, though, when it came time to take the court. Number 24 here is Johnny Dawkins in his first year, 1986, when he was learning to play point guard.
I had doubts that I could play the one after, you know, my first few games there, and I was struggling, and the guys were pressuring me. You know, I came to the NBA with a thought that the guys really didn't play good defense in this league, and I was proven wrong. So right away, that was a setback for me, the fact that I had underestimated the players' talents in this league, and so I had to regroup.
Ron Anderson, meantime, started great. That's him, number 25. 27 points in his first game in 1984, ironically against the Sixers, but he wound up getting injured and not playing as much as he had hoped.
It's tough on rookies because if you don't come in and establish yourself as far as confidence is concerned and get playing time, then you may struggle the rest of your career if you're not strong-minded enough to deal with the criticism that is given and use it as constructive criticism to make yourself a better player and a better human being.
Armen Gilliam came out of college in 1987 and immediately into a position of high expectations.
I remember going to a franchise, which was Phoenix, that was under a lot of pressure to win. they had a lot of drug problems, and so I came in and I had a lot of pressure on me to perform right away. And what happened was I broke a bone in my foot the first game of the season, and I was out for 26 games. They kind of rushed me back into the lineup, and so my rookie year was filled with a lot of pressure.
And Hersey Hawkins, who says for him in 1988, there were a couple of things that took getting used to.
I think getting used to the travel was number one. You know, in college, hey, you travel maybe 15 games. You know, it's a big difference when you're traveling 40. And then just the competition every night, you know, realizing you're playing against, you know, top-notch guards. You know, in college, you know, you're allowed to get away with things like, you know, not playing hard on a given night. But in the NBA, you know, you have to take it every night.
Especially as a rookie. In the end, there's only one way to really fit in, and that's by getting the year over with.
That name, once you get the R away from your name after the first season, then you're a regular guy. Until then, you're always going to be a rookie. The older guys, even on your team and other teams, are going to call you, hey, Rook, what's going on?
Hey, Rook, the tag every player in the league gets and can't wait to get rid of.
No, I feel like I'm a veteran. I don't think as a player, I've proven that I'm a veteran, but as far as, like, I had a good rookie year. I think I went through that my rookie year and the carrying the bags and all the rookie things. So I think my rookie year is over with. I feel more at ease when I play now.
Kick off 1992 with a month full of great movies and exclusive home team sports this January only on Prism. It's a month of movies the critics love, with Jason Robards in the drama Reunion, Danny Glover's acclaimed performance in To Sleep with Anger, Peter Falk, Keanu Reeves, and Barbara Hershey in the comedy Tune In Tomorrow, Julian Sands in the terrifying thriller Warlock, plus classic Oscar winners like MASH, In the Heat of the Night, The Way We Were, and Woody Allen's Annie Hall. It's a month of outstanding home team sports featuring the Flyers in 7 games, the Sixers in 13 games, and an exclusive Big 5 doubleheader, all live only on Prism. And that's only the beginning. Stay tuned to Prism in 92 for Awakening, New Jack City, The Grifters, Guilty by Suspicion, and more of the most home team sports on cable TV. It's the start of an exciting new year, right here on Prism, the only channel you need for the best entertainment in 1992.
Welcome back to the January edition of 76ers Insider. Still to come, our profile on newly signed 76er guard Greg Grant and our look back at Charles Barkley's rookie year, plus our regular features, Insider Playbook, Brian Cam, in which Brian Oliver probes his Sixer teammates for their New Year's resolutions, and of course the answers to our quiz. For now, though, insider tradition. And when you talk about Sixers tradition, you have to talk about Julius Erving, highly regarded by players and fans. And as Tony Irving reports, amongst those players is one Michael Jordan.
I think I'm going to be competitive. I know I have a lot of respect for the man as much as anyone else would.
Michael Jordan in 1985 talking about facing Julius Erving for the first time. It was Dr. J who set the stage for these shoes to do the walking. Comparisons to Erving followed, and rightfully so.
And the Sixers inbounded, but the Bulls steal it. And Michael Jordan on a breakaway to start things off here in the fourth quarter.
Leon Wood, the lob to Doc. Around Jordan, he scores. Well, hello, Mr. Jordan.
I think the thing that I'm most admired about him right now at this particular time is the way that once he retired from the game, he has gone back and basically tried to live a normal life, because I rarely do I hear much about him except for the the one-on-one thing with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But until then, people say, "Where's Dr. J?" You know, that is what I can see myself, and that's what I would want myself to do once I step away from the game of the basketball, get out of the spotlight, and yet, try to get to a normal life and watch my kids grow. Even when he's gone from the game of basketball, you still learn something from a guy like Dr. J, and that's something that I'm learning from him, and I kind of envy him once I get away from the game of basketball.
Back to our theme now this month, which is starting out. And to really illustrate how difficult it can be for a rookie, look at Theron Mays, the one rookie on the Sixers roster this year. He struggled through 21 games as a Sixer and was released last month. One man's misfortune, though, can be another man's gain. And as Dee Lynam reports, the departure of Mays opens up an opportunity to start again for Greg Grant.
He's the latest addition to the Sixers squad, but Greg Grant is by no means a rookie in the NBA. He's a well-traveled veteran of 2.5 years, having played with Phoenix, New York, and Charlotte, a journey that has brought him great wisdom.
I think that the moving around and the traveling and the aggravation you go through makes you grow up and say, hey, you know, you realize what this is. It's a business as well as a basketball game. And you have to be able to deal with more pressures. And I have been, like now when I go in to talk to coaches and stuff, it doesn't make me a little nervous when they say, you know, good things, and because you know it can turn around the next day.
What a difference a day can make. In a 24-hour span, the Sixers released guard Theron Mays and signed Grant, an example of the NBA revolving door, one side disappointment, the other opportunity.
I have a real good feeling about this team. Coach Lynam has sat down and talked with me, and I know my role and what he's expected of me, and I think I'm going to get the playing time. If I'm capable of doing what I can do, I'll be around for a while.
Being around for a while sure would be nice. Greg grew up in Trenton and played his college ball at Trenton State. Coming to Philadelphia is both a homecoming and a dream come true.
Did you grow up being a Sixer fan?
Die-hard Sixer fan. We used to go crazy over Philadelphia Sixers. I mean, the Sixers that was it. And I remember when they was up 3-1 on Portland. Just drove me crazy when they lost. Then the next year they lost, and all they can say is, we owe you one. And everybody was like, we tired y'all on this one. When we gonna get one? And then they finally won one, and it was unbelievable.
And of course he had a favorite player from that Sixer era, Maurice Cheeks. Imagine becoming teammates with the very player you grew up loving.
Being a Philly fan and finally getting the chance to play with one of the great people I respect and idolized for so many years, to be on the same team with him and ride to the games with him and practice and just clown around, and we became good friends.
Greg developed that friendship over the course of last season. The Knicks did not bring him back this year, but Charlotte was ready to give him a shot, a chance to play backup to Muggsy Bogues.
I learned a lot from him, you know, his toughness and his mental attitude, the way he approached the game. We both realized that we both are exactly the same player, physically and mentally.
Like Muggsy, Greg is quick and feisty on the court, often creating problems for bigger guys. Off the court, he's equally energetic.
I run a lot. I want to one day pursue a marathon. If I ever get a chance to do basketball, kind of slow me down from training. I can run about 10, 11 miles a day, pretty hard, And in the summertime, I can get up to 15 a day.
He's back home, enjoying old friends and family, working hard on a lifelong dream with only one goal in sight.
To establish what I feel I can do on the basketball court, and not for nobody else, just for myself, because of the hard work I put in and the time I put into to be a good basketball player, whether it work or not. Say you gave it your all, and that's my goal, is just to give it everything I had. So when my career is over, I can sit back. I won't have no doubt saying, well, I wish I could have did this and should have did that. I can say, well, I did everything I wanted to do, and I was happy with it.
I'm just looking forward to getting the season started. I think it'll be a great experience, and I think I came to the best team possible, and I'm just looking forward to going in and learning as much as I can, hopefully helping the Sixers as much as possible.
Don't miss the Sixers on Friday, January 10th, when they take on Danny Manning and the LA Clippers at the Spectrum. Good seats are still available and start at just $6. And if you're one of the first 6,000 adults 15 and older, you can take home a free Sixers gym bag. That's right, a free Sixers gym bag.
For 3 generations, Flint, Michigan, USA built cars for General Motors, the world's largest corporation, until Roger Smith, the chairman of General Motors, shut down the assembly lines.
He has as much concern about these people as you do. People are hungry, he's not.
Mr. Smith is not in.
Would you mind leaving?
Roger and Me, the story of one man's search for the truth.
Every month on 76ers Insider, we bring on 76ers assistant coach Fred Carter and bring you Insider Playbook. This month, we bring on Fred to talk about one of the 76ers' fundamental plays.
Johnny and Armin, on our thumb out play, you know, when coach calls a thumb out, allow Johnny, first of all, to bring the ball down the floor here and give him a second to ISO and see if he can beat his man. Meanwhile, Armin, you take this position here. So what happens now with your man having to stay right here at that position, it gives Johnny an opportunity to maybe drive the lane to break down the defense. If he's not able to do that, then what you'll do is you'll come over here and set a screen for Johnny, which now, of course, brings his man over to that area. Meanwhile now, we have Percy, you're in this position here. Charlie, you're right here, and the 5-man is going to be low on the lane. So that way, if there's a double team, there's a breakdown, 5-man can steal right in the lane here. 3-man come over to be an outlet pass, and then a 2-man, Hawkins, spots up in the corner for the 3-pointer. So now, as the pick and roll develops, Johnny now dribbles over the pick and roll here. This guy begins to help. This guy is trailing the play. Now Armin rolls right here. Johnny, you got Armin for a baseline jump shot, which works well. If not, Armin rolls to the basket. Johnny, you have a pass going right into the lane for a layup for Armin Gilliam. Execute it, take our time, be patient on it. First, give him a chance to see if he can score on the ISO, then execute the pick and roll. We can work this play all day. Let's go get it done, fellas.
All right, a little something extra to watch out for the next time you're at a Sixers game. One thing you do not have to be especially perceptive to see at a Sixers game when he's around is Charles Barkley. But the guy who's the center of attention now, on the court and off, is a lot different than the Charles Barkley when he joined the 76ers as a rookie. As Tony Irving reports, in 1984, Charles was more the butt of jokes than the center of attention.
And I guess the first time in our history we've had 2 picks in the top 10, and we think the draft broke perfectly for us. We were hoping it would come this way to get a Barkley at 5, and Wood was the guy we wanted at 10. Everything fell into place perfectly, and we just feel very pleased with what's happened.
The 1984 NBA draft was a day of optimism for the Sixers. They had the 5th choice. That choice turned out to be a 280-pound forward from Auburn University. It was also a day of laughter.
You know, when the minute he walks down Broad Street, it's going to instantly become a one-way street. You know, that's just the way he is. When he goes swimming, you got to worry about him getting harpooned. You know, he's just a giant of a man. It took the giant redwoods 200 years to grow a girth like that, but we're pleased with him. 6'6", sure, you'd like him to be 6'9". If he was 6'9", he'd have probably been the first pick in the draft.
Have you cleared those jokes with him?
Not yet. You guys are going to have some good copy with him.
As the Sixers waited for Barkley to arrive from New York, General Manager Pat Williams continued to amuse.
He came in yesterday wearing a form-fitting poncho, which concerned us a little bit, but we'll...
265, what they think is your best, or what you think is your best?
That's what I think is my best. They think maybe 260, but I think 265.
What will you do to lose that weight?
Just more or less just get on a strict program. It just take a lot of concentration for a long period of time. Be careful what you eat and how often you eat and how hard you work out.
Has weight ever been a problem for you before?
No, sir, not really.
2 months later, he was officially a 76er, having signed his first NBA contract. It was now time to display his talents on the court, and Barkley did not disappoint. This was his first NBA field goal, just a prelude of what was to come in his rookie year.
Doc loops it ahead of Barkley. Here he comes. Charles to the hole. He scores. Boy, he just bolted by people.
And there's the case for the collapsible rib being a factor.
Rebound, Barkley. Charles running. Gilly screaming, shoot it. Charles threw it with his left. Oh, my. Yeah, it counts. I don't believe that play.
Wants to limp back into the game, but Billy Cunningham grabs him and tells him no, a substitution as Bobby Jones goes in.
The coach of the Sixers in 1984 was Billy Cunningham. As you might imagine, it was not smooth sailing for Billy or Charles Barkley. It was Cunningham's responsibility to teach Charles the meaning of life in the NBA.
Charles demanded a lot of time. As I mentioned, you know, here was someone 283, did not have a real good work ethic. And those are things that we had to constantly make Charles aware of. And, you know, now he's a pretty good basketball player. So I guess maybe it wasn't the best situation and ideal for him, but my job as a coach was to try and help him to become the best player he possibly could be.
8 years later, it's safe to assume that Cunningham got Barkley off on the right track. As a 5-time All-Star, a rebounding champion, a future Olympian, Charles Barkley has come a long way since the round mound of rebound.
Tipping the scales, the latest at 300 pounds. He is one of the most exciting players to come out of college. And he now will be alongside Julius Erving and Moses Malone in the city of brotherly love.
Kick off 1992 with a month full of great movies and exclusive home team sports this January only on Prism. It's a month of movies the critics love, with Jason Robards in the drama Reunion, Danny Glover's acclaimed performance in To Sleep with Anger, Peter Falk, Keanu Reeves, and Barbara Hershey in the comedy Tune In Tomorrow, Julian Sands in the terrifying thriller Warlock, plus classic Oscar winners like MASH, In the Heat of the Night, The Way We Were, and Woody Allen's Annie Hall. It's a month of outstanding home team sports featuring the Flyers in 7 games, the Sixers in 13 games, and an exclusive Big 5 doubleheader, all live only on Prism. And that's only the beginning. Stay tuned to Prism in 92 for Awakening, New Jack City, The Grifters, Guilty by Suspicion, and more of the most home team sports on cable TV. It's the start of an exciting new year, right here on Prism, the only channel you need for the best entertainment in 1992.
Welcome back to 76ers Insider. And I think you've had enough time to mull over the answers to our quiz question from the beginning of the show. Ready or not, here come those answers.
The 5 former 76er players who are currently NBA head coaches. First, Orlando Magic coach Matt Guokas, who was a Sixer player for 5 seasons beginning in 1966, and who, of course, was later also coach of the 76ers. Second, Kevin Lockery, who played for the Sixers for 2 years in the early 70s, and who also later coached them, and who is now coach of the Miami Heat. Third, Bob Weiss, the coach of the Atlanta Hawks, and a 76er player for 2 years in the mid-60s. Fourth, Mike Dunleavy, 76er player in 1977 and 78, and now coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And fifth, the Charlotte Hornets coach, Alan Bristow, who spent 2 seasons on the Sixers roster in the mid-70s.
Alan Bristow might have been the stumper there, or maybe they all stumped you. At any rate, here's one more question. Are you ready for Brian Cam? As we did last month, we sent out 76ers guard Brian Oliver, even though he was on the injured list, with a handheld video camera, and asked him to get his teammates' thoughts on their New Year's resolutions.
Percy August, tell us what your
Who tape is that?
New Year's resolution. Don't worry about who tape it is. Tell us what your New Year's resolution is.
My New Year's resolution is just to be a better person. That's about it. That's all.
My New Year's resolution would be to enjoy each day and not let the difficulties of the job interfere with the pleasures that are out there.
That's pretty good, Jim. Thank you. Phil Jasner.
What's the question?
What's your New Year's resolution?
His New Year's resolution is to learn to understand Charles Barkley. I want to have the same ability to let I want to have the same ability to let water roll off my back like a duck that Jim Lynam says he has.
My New Year's resolution for us to stop embarrassing the 76er tradition and pick it up a little bit and get above 500.
We got Dave Hoppin. Dave, tell us what your New Year's resolution is.
To try to get some playing time next year.
That should be mine, too.
Yeah, Brian's a little bit like Spike Lee or Woody Allen. A lot of the great directors just love to put themselves on camera. Well, that's our show this time around. We'll look for you next month on our February edition. Thanks for watching 76ers Insider.
Clothing was provided by Tory, the official clothier of the 76ers. Regular, big, and tall sizes, 36 to 70. Clothing, sportswear, and outerwear.
Prism, 15 years. of great Hollywood movies and exclusive home team sports.